Good, thank you for bearing with that. So, like Allie said, my name is Marissa. I know I introduced myself earlier, and you all pretty much know me. I'm one of the partner relationship managers. And today we're going to talk about the elevator pitch. Before I go into what the elevator pitch is, I'll explain a little bit more about why I'm talking about it today, what that connection is, and how it's going to connect to you all as well. So our goals today is to talk about what is an elevator pitch, and where, when, how we can use it. How to feel comfortable practicing and using an elevator pitch. And then to also learn more about Families First, especially because you are all parent leaders, doing wonderful things with the different projects, and some of you are also acting as ambassadors. So just all helpful things in talking about what this is and what an elevator pitch is. So, just thinking, let's see. Is anyone here already familiar with an elevator pitch? Okay. So for those who aren't, take a guess. What is an elevator pitch? Yes, Jessica. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. All right. What gave it away? How did you go with short and sweet?
It says elevator pitch is.
Oh, you're looking ahead. All right. Yeah. So an elevator pitch is brief. It's something you can use to spark interest about you, your initiative, or your organization. Does anyone have a thought as to why it's called specifically an elevator pitch? Why not a stairway pitch or an escalator pitch? Smooth, because it's smooth.
Because the elevator music in the elevator makes you, calm.
Oh, okay, so because it's calming.
Because
The elevator music?
it's quick. It goes down.
Yeah, how do you call it?
Between when that person are in the elevator together to when they get off their stop, that's the problem.
Exactly. So yeah, so hitting on what Jessica said about it being short and sweet and what Adibola just said. So an elevator pitch is different from public speaking like Clara was just talking about. Clara was just talking about when you have a speech, you're presenting your main ideas and you're following up with points that go with it. But an elevator pitch is short, sweet, and to the point. It should take, it should take about the length of time that you would be on an elevator with somebody. So, and that is about 20 to 30 seconds. So, and what else? Before I switch to the next thing, what about, so I like that what Jessica said before, that you said the word calming, but what are some other words just based on this, would you think that an elevator pitch would be? If you have 20 to 30 seconds to talk to someone, what about those 20 to 30 seconds is special? Direct, to the point. Should it be, is it boring?
Basically, you don't want to bore the audience because then you'll start losing them.
Yeah. So if something isn't boring, what's a good word for that? Interesting. Right. Yeah, so an elevator pitch, it should be interesting, it should be memorable and concise. So all together, yeah, so it's 20 to 30 seconds of something that's going to explain to someone either who you are, what your organization is, an initiative, it has to be interesting, memorable, and concise. How do you do all of that? 20 seconds.
Practice. Break it down.
Yeah.
Break it down to brief summary.
Exactly. So what we're going to do, here, I'm just going to check my time and make sure that I want to give everyone enough time to practice today. But, okay. So when you are doing an elevator pitch, We want to introduce the goal. So if you have 20 to 30 seconds to explain to someone, what do you think these goals are? If you just had to think of a goal for an elevator pitch. I know I just kind of gave one away, introducing yourself. What else could you be introducing? Product.
Kind of your idea of why you're there in the first place, who you representing.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe you're using it to introduce yourself, a product you have, why you're there. What about if, it's already up here. Yeah, how about telling people what you do for a living or a skill set? When would you use this?
To relate to all that.
Outreach.
Yeah, outreach. What about, has anyone here been to a job interview? Yeah, everyone here's been to a job interview. What are you doing in that job interview? Selling yourself, yeah. You're introducing yourself. Maybe the new idea is what you're going to bring into it. Yeah, your skill set. You're telling people what you do. And has anyone ever had that question? Tell me about yourself. What do you want to know? Here's a breakdown of my whole history, starting from when I was. So a great answer to that, tell me about yourself, is to have an elevator pitch already in mind. You can say your name, and just a little concise, brief thing about you, so that gets you through that. What about if you are fundraising? What do you think? What are you doing if you're fundraising? Are you asking people? Yeah. Yeah, you're introducing your organization. You are, you might be telling people about an initiative you're leading. What if you're, let's see, if you're asking for a raise and your boss says, why should I give you a raise? Sure, you could list off every single reason you definitely want to do that, but you could also have prepared, quick 20 to 30 seconds that's compelling, it's interesting, and then they can say, okay, tell me more. And that would be maybe selling new ideas, maybe, kind of taking this all into consideration. As you've been involved in parent leadership, have there been people who've said, what are you doing with Families First? What's a parent leader? So you could also use an elevator pitch to respond to that. I know for me, I use an elevator pitch all of the time, and in fact, as I've been looking at all of you today going, when you all first signed up for the Power of Parenting, at some point, either I was camped out in front of the YMCA, I was at the entrance at Nurturing Learning Lab, I was at the toy drive for, Urban Edge, or I was, doing something, and you probably walked by my table, and I said, hi, have you heard about the Power of Parenting? And you said no, and I said, my elevator pitch. And you all were probably on the receiving end of it. Now I'm looking at all of you, and I'm like, actually, I know exactly where I met all of you, and I don't think any of it was tabling, but still. So, the goal when you are having an elevator pitch is really, when you have that elevator, just looking at that goal. And it can be different. You could be using your elevator pitch at recruitment events, at job interviews, networking, talking to strangers. Just the other day, I was sitting just in a building doing some work, and a gentleman came over to me, and he had seen that I had been in a meeting, and he said, what was that meeting? What do you do? And I saw he's laundry in the next room, because we were in a residential hall. And I didn't know a lot of times, so I gave him my elevator pitch. And it was compelling enough. He sat down at the table and we talked for 20 more minutes. So you can come up all of the time. So before we get into the structure, I'm going to hand out first or after? So maybe I'm going to hand out after. But when you're thinking about an elevator pitch, you've got that 20 to 30 seconds to talk to someone, using one of these goals. So either you're introducing yourself, organization. Maybe for this purpose, we'll say, let's say you're talking to someone about families first or parent leadership. Just spitballing here, what are some things that you want to convey in an elevator pitch? What is important for you to say in these 20 to 30 seconds?
Who you are, why you're here, and what you want.
Yeah. So who you are. Yeah, why? Yeah. So if you just start saying, families first is this, people might say, okay, that's great, but we're human, why are you telling me this? If you start saying families first, parent leadership is this, and they might say, okay, but why do I care? All right, what else needs to be a part of this?
Like, why me? Why am I telling you?
Yeah.
So I think that's something about our background or our involvement that gives us credibility.
Yeah. Perfect. And credibility goes right back to what Clara was saying too, and adding in your personal narrative. All right. We're missing a big one.
What is it?
What it is. Right. Because I can say, hi, I'm Marissa, because it helps families. What am I talking about? Yeah. All right, and there's another part of it. Yeah. That's the structure. And so I have handouts in both English and Spanish. And I have an example in here. The structure, and we just kind of briefly looked at this, but the structure of the elevator is exactly what we were saying is, you need to talk about who you are, just do English or Spanish. It's fine. English, Spanish. English, Spanish? Yeah, so as you're looking at this, so this, okay, sorry. And so because everything we're doing today really, ties into one another and what we've, already been talking about, Clara was talking before about, before you, are doing public speaking, before you're going to say some things, a huge part of it is not only your preparedness, but organization. And so if you're going to go out in the community, let's say you are helping to recruit for a Power of Parenting program, or you are hoping to talk to alumni and say, we're going to be running this program soon. A key tip for organizing will be thinking ahead, who you are, what the issue is, what are you doing, why is it important, what are the benefits of this program, and how is it going to do anything? So there is an example of an elevator pitch down below. Does anyone want to read it out loud? Let's see, anyone who hasn't spoken in a while. Not that I'm not going to pick on you, but anyone who hasn't spoken in a bit. All right.
My name is, do I have to do my name?
Thank
My name is Renee, and I am a parent
Ambassador.
With Family First, and I became involved with the Family First when I completed the Power of Parents program in my community. As a single parent, this program helped me when I was feeling isolated and alone by providing space where I could connect with other parents. Family First believes that every community benefits from the power of parents. Now, as a parent advocate, I am able to connect with parents in the community who may also be feeling isolated to this program, which provides not only new parents and knowledge and skills, but also new connections and support from other parents.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is just an example of one. But can anyone say, you know, is there a who? Do you see the who in there? Yeah. You know, what are they talking about? What's this example talking about? Yeah. Why is it important to this, you know, the person in the example? Yeah. And how, you know, the goal of this program, who's benefiting from the program, you know, why, you know, yeah, we're talking about the why, but okay, then what? Do we see the clear how, you know, how does it benefit? That's so clear to me that I can probably this way do all of that. Nothing about it, right? Yeah. So that's really the key, and different elevator pitches will be different depending on who you're talking to. Because, yeah, and that's a big part of knowing your audience. Addie Wallace said it, you know, before credibility using narrative. Let's get to the next one. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. I'm going to start with know your audience, because having an elevator pitch, as you might imagine, if, you know, I am standing at Nursery Learning Lab trying to talk to families as they walk in, you know, what I'm, you know, how I do my elevator pitch, how I talk about the program may be different from if I were talking to a big donor, you know, who wants to know, you know, what did I donate in a wishful world? $1 million to? Maybe, hopefully one day. You know, which also may be different from if you are talking to someone about the Parent Leadership Program, the alumni events. So a big part of that organization, you know, and looking at that outline is also, who am I talking to? You know, what are my goals here? You know, going back to that other document, is the goal going to be to introduce yourself, the organization? Is it selling the idea? Is it telling people about an idea to promote participation? So just tips for success is having that audience is going to be, you know, just keeping that aware and keeping it simple and focused. You know, this isn't going to be 2 minutes. This is really going to be a brief 20 to 30 seconds. And the goal is that it's going to be compelling enough that people will stop and say, okay, tell me more. And if you can get that, tell me more, then you know you've had a really effective elevator pitch. And being persuasive. So it's always good, I always say, being really genuine. You know, no one wants to hear someone who's just reading something from a script. So as you continue practicing, and we'll practice a lot today about, you know, that's one of the goals is practicing and getting comfortable with it, is, you know, how do you know, use your own story, your narrative to make it genuine to yourself, so that, you know, for today we're really talking mostly about parent leadership, power of parenting and families first, but in the future, as you market yourself, as you are involved in many other organizations, you know, how do you make that so that 20 to 30 seconds really is genuine to you and your story? Say something that grabs their attention, leaves them wanting more. You know, back to that being really compelling, is you want that person to say, hey, what did you mean by this? And then what makes your initiative or your organization unique? So, you know, why you out of everybody else? And then limiting the time. I know based on experience, mostly all my experiences are really just trying to recruit people for programs, and people are coming in and picking up their kids or dropping off their kids. There's work, there's dinner, there's something going on, but no one really wants to talk to me, which is why I also brought people with candy at my table. But, you know, being very quick and saying, you know, hey, have you heard about the power of parenting? It's a program that brings parents together, parents of young children together to help strengthen knowledge, skills, and support systems, because we know being a parent's really hard, so it's great to come together and learn from others. And sometimes they're like, oh, wait, yeah, it is hard to be a parent. What? So what is this program? Like, okay. And, you know, avoiding too many details. Because again, until people stop and ask and say, what is this program? If you overwhelm with details in the beginning, you might actually have the opposite effect. And I'm practicing with a timer. Once when I was first learning how to do an elevator pitch, We had someone who literally had us in an elevator, and we had the length of time in an elevator to do it, and that was a little stressful. We're not doing that today. So, it's also helpful, just some other things, to have multiple versions. I mean, I know we said this already, having multiple versions of an elevator pitch so that, just so that, you know, depending on who you're talking to, depending on what you're talking about, different things roll off the tongue. You know, we say it's a tool, it really is a good muscle to have. The more you practice, the more you work out that muscle, the more natural and easier it becomes. So no one's going to be perfect. It's certainly, I've been here at Families First for 2 years, and I think even in my first year as I was learning about everything that we're doing, and everything changes all of the time, that, you know, you just have to, you keep practicing at it. So that's one of our goals today that we're really going to be looking at is, how to practice this so that we feel really comfortable going forward. So, all right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pass this out. All right. Which one do I have out? How do I have? Okay. So we're going to spend the next majority of the time really crafting an elevator pitch, practicing with each other, and then I am going to ask a couple people to keep in mind, kind of like what Clara said, keeping in mind that I'd like to have a few people come up and present. And I did take notes about who presented during the public speaking, so I know who hasn't come up. And I'm just going to leave that there. So what we're going to do is, actually before we get to these, I tend to talk a lot. Does anyone have questions about what an elevator pitch is? Was anything unclear? Questions, comments before we move on to the activity? And I'm not offended if you just said, I have no idea anything of what you just said. Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
When we're practicing, doesn't it have to be, the elevator pitch doesn't have to be about Families First, or can it be about anything else?
So for today, we're going to practice with Families First, just because that's something that we all have in common that we can then hear. Because there can be so many different variations, I think it'll be helpful to hear everyone talk about one topic. Also, just so another goal, so you all can also learn more about what we do, so that as you continue on as parent leaders in the next few months, and hopefully continue as alumni forever. You can always be able to talk about Families First as well. So the structure is going to be, going back to the goals. The goal we're going to practice on, let's run back here really fast. Today's going to be our elevator pitch our goal today that we're going to be doing or working on is the introducing, the organization of yourself. Yeah, and the organization of the program initiative. Kind of multiple. Yeah. All right. And the model can be used anywhere. So the goal is once we get practice with this. So on this handout I just gave you, so the instructions in pairs, you're going to practice creating your best elevator pitch using any combination of these talking points and then your own personal narrative, your own experience in the program. And then you're going to pair up and take turns presenting the elevator pitch to your partner. And if you want to write things down, I'm going to do maybe, is it down to 1:15? Maybe 5 minutes. So just jot down some initial ideas, and then we'll pair up. Pen or pencil? Yeah. So on a piece of paper, start writing down what you would say. If you were having an elevator pitch, like who you are in Families First.
Hi, my name is Jessica Rodriguez, and I'm a parent leader and parent ambassador at Family First. I became involved with the program when I did the class 4 times in my community. As a parent, this program helped me when I was feeling that there was no way in order to communicate with my daughter because my daughter has a minor case of autism. And so one of the classes was communication, and I used some of the skills and techniques with my daughter. And I believe Family First believes that every community benefits from the power of parents. So now me as a parent ambassador, I'm able to connect with my daughter and with others in a better way.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, so did we get a sense, do we know who Jessica is?
Yes.
Do we know what we're talking about?
Yes.
Do we know why we're talking about it?
Yes.
And do we know what the benefit was?
Yes.
Awesome, that's perfect, thank you. All right, who's next? Who else wants to present?
I mean, you're talking.
You got this, we believe in you.
Hold on.
That is Renee.
Hi, my name is Renee Johnson, and I am participating in Family First program. I am a single parent. I have a 6-year-old. Family First helped me a lot through my hard time. It helped me to believe in myself. It helped me to develop skills, and it also teaching me how to be outspoken. That is all I got.
All right, so do we know who Renee is?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Do we know why we're talking about this? Yeah, you said it helped you. It was a really great program. We talked about what it is a little bit. Families First. It's definitely something I think as everyone in general, we'll talk about, perfectly crafting things, but I think that, you talked about the program that you have the 6-year-old and it really benefited you. So you have the what and the how kind of combined there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. There's one more person to come up. Maybe someone named either Chanel or Rosemary? I think there's people here with those names. So.
Rosemary kind of go out.
Does that happen?
Sorry, round of applause for Rosemary. I don't go easy on anybody for the record. I know all of your names.
Okay. So hello everyone, my name is Rosemary and I'm actually an ambassador for a program called Families First. And they have a parenting program which is awesome. I've done it several times with my own kids. It's called the Power of Parenting. It's helped me realize the differences between my kids, the ways that they grow up differently, circumstances that maybe I can't control and I try to control because it's within their own development. I've made awesome friendships. My kids have made awesome friendships. Everything I've learned, they've also taught the kids. That's pretty much it.
Great. Thank you. All right. So do we know who Renee or Rosemary is?
Yes.
Do we know why we're talking about this program?
Yes.
Do we know what the program is?
Yes.
Power parenting. Do we know how did what were the benefits of it? How did it work? Yeah. All right, Chanel, you lucked out because we're such a parent. We'll move on. But don't think because Courtney still has a presentation that's going to have some participation. All right. So, what are some of the challenges as we were doing this? What's hard about this?
If the people you're talking to no question or no interest in that, how do you keep saying?
Yeah, so, there's the risk of no interest. You might be talking to someone about this program and they might hang up on you, they might walk away, they might say, okay, they might be rude,
They might say, oh, I don't have time.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a 30-second thing, Talk to a lot of people. An elevator pitch, it's 30 seconds. If someone isn't interested, it's It's only 30 seconds of your life, you know? So, but that's it's a valid challenge because it can be discouraging. But fortunately, for every one person who's uninterested, there's typically 5 who are, I find. I will that.
There are other programs for parents, whether like in the community or online. So, so I guess really distinguishing your program from the other opportunities out there.
Right, so really making the pitch unique.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where I think even with time, having this sheet of paper that has some of those key talking points that really emphasize how, you know, I know for this example, how Families First is unique. So, you know, as you continue crafting that and thinking about it, and even as you think about your own models for your own self, you know, how do you make yourself unique? How do you make your program, your initiative unique? There's a really common challenge that no one said yet.
Rambling and overspeaking, or probably underspeaking and leaving out information.
Time. Yeah, rambling, overspeaking. So there's always that risk of, you know, once you get on a roll, you're like, oh, I could just talk about this forever, and it's this program, and then I learned this, and then I did this, and it was really great, and then I learned this, and then this happened, and that was really cool. Definitely a big risk. So kind of also, you know, part of that perfecting and practicing is after a while, if you keep practicing the elevator pitch, whether it's about Families First, whether it's about yourself and that, you know, tell me about yourself type of question, the more you practice it, the more you'll get comfortable with that specific time allotment so that you can catch yourself as you are maybe rambling too much, or maybe you're providing too many details. And even though they're great details, you know, you might need to take a step back and go, okay, does this person need to hear all of that? You know, how do I make this even more concise? So that will come with practice, and it will come with practice. Any other challenges? I will.
Having the confidence to talk to someone else.
Yeah. Can you tell me more?
So if we have family friends that we know, it might be easy to say, okay, I know you have a child in this age range, this could be helpful. But if you're on the train with someone, how do you approach someone who, after a long day, may or may not want to hear this? But I think also the biggest thing is just feeling like you are worthy of 30 seconds of their time.
Exactly. Yeah. And in case no one's told you today, you are all worthy of at least 30 seconds of everyone's time. I think more, but I'm biased. You know. But yeah, no, I think that's true. And I know sometimes for me, when I was first starting off, I actually would visualize, kind of like how Clara was saying, to mentally prepare. Everyone has a different way to mentally prepare. I used to actually visualize myself putting on a hat. And the hat was, I have this information. If you want this information, that's great. If you don't, I'll move on with my life. And it literally was just like, okay, if I have this hat on, the worst case they can say is no or brush me off, but it's okay because I have this information, and if they want this information, that's great. And if they don't, I'll move on with my life. And I literally, it was a very specific, weird example, I know, but I would have to visualize this and remember that, you know, I have the confidence to do this, and that, you know, I have this great knowledge, I have this experience, I have this perspective, you know, this information to share, and I'm going to share it. And it's only 30 seconds, and, you know, at best, it's going to be great. At worst, it's just 30 seconds. Yeah. All right. So next, so really, what we've talked about today, but that was a very fast hour, but if you can believe it, it's already been an hour. But today, hopefully you walked away after this session understanding about what exactly is an elevator pitch, the structure of it, how you can craft it, where, when, how you can use an elevator pitch. You know, you've created a pitch and you've practiced it in front of others, so you've already started thinking about ways you can use it. And you've received talking points about Families First, so not only can that help you continue to craft elevator pitches as you continue to do work with us, but also, you know, sharing information about Families First, but also all of this should really stay in your mind too for things you're going to pursue outside of here. So, you know, thinking about how you can modify this to the other programs, organizations, wonderful things that you are doing. So with that, thank you all for your time. That is the end of the elevator pitch topic today.